Good afternoon, everyone. Glad you could join us today. I hope you all have something wonderful planned for this upcoming weekend. I'm Tom Leahy. I'm the managing partner here at OptimumEd. We are a higher education advisory firm located in Richmond, Virginia. For those of you who are not familiar with us, we can help students, however, anywhere across the country. So we do operate nationally. For us, it's all about helping a young person prepare to launch and launch successfully. And for us, that starts with understanding the student, what makes them tick, and to be able to help them figure out the right direction. Everything we do starts with an assessment, what we call career and academic assessment. And that's what we're going to look at today in depth. They say, picture's worth 1,000 words. So we're going to show you the pictures today. We're going to show you exactly what the results look like and kind of take you through how we interpret the results when we're sitting with a student. So that's what we're looking forward to this afternoon. I'm going to ask your patience. We're using a new platform here, so hopefully the technology will cooperate, but we'll get through it one way or the other, I'm sure. So first question is, why an assessment? Why is that so important when we talk about college planning? Today, the academic chaos that occurs when a student goes off to college is tremendous. If you look at the statistics, about 30% of first-time college students are dropping out in the first year because of academic reasons, because of financial reasons. We're only graduating about 33% in 4 years. About 50% of students who start college never finish. And of course, they walk away with debt and no degree, that sort of thing. So why is that? It's because we don't do better prior planning before we jump in to college. We don't think about trying to figure out what is the right direction for us, academically. And so the assessment for us really drives everything that comes after. It is the foundation. Because if we can figure out the proper direction that's right for a student in terms of life and career, that's easily translatable into an academic path. And that academic path then tells us what college majors we need to have available, which, intuitively then tells us, well, we need to look for schools that have those college majors, right? Makes sense. So that's the sort of the beginning of the process that we have here in terms of figuring out, what to study and where to study it. So it's the assessment that starts that process. So the assessment it takes about an hour to take online. We send a link to the student, and they can take it at home in a quiet corner. They can take it on their phone if that works. But it takes about an hour to complete. And then when we get the results, we prepare those, the reports and things, and then we make an appointment. Right now, everything is obviously being done video conference. So we make an appointment to consult with the parents and the student and go through the results. That takes about an hour. And then we send the reports electronically to the student, and they can spend time doing their own research. And you'll see what that looks like and what I'm talking about more specifically when we get into it. And then, we get back together for a second meeting, another perhaps hour, where we talk about what the students discovered, what they're thinking now. Hopefully toward the end of that second meeting, we have some resolution as to direction. Obviously, depending on when a student comes to us, that may be an ongoing conversation. If we're engaged in the other things that we do in terms of helping with college planning. However, I would say that we do have college students come and take our assessment. because they start to question what direction they're going and what they're doing in college. We've had 8th grade students take it to help frame their decision about what to do in high school, because the academic choices are many in a lot of cases in public school, and there's really no scientific basis, no data to base any decisions on. It's assumption, presumption, in terms of what to do in high school. So we have 8th graders take it, and we have I've had adults come and take it who are thinking about going back to school, just to make sure that they're doing the right thing and not spinning their wheels. So it is a very valuable tool for a wide range of people and purposes. All right, so let's see if we can get the assessment up on the screen and take a look at it. All right, so you should be seeing the screen that says Sally Sample. She's our hypothetical student. This is the written report that is received by the student, and we will go through this with them. I'm going to scroll down and just give you an idea of what is involved. There's three sections to this report. And so let's jump over here. You should be seeing a visual of 3 circles on the screen. Your profile and ideal career. So the assessment is made up of 3 areas that are being measured. Thinking style, which is about reasoning. It's about how you learn. It's about how you communicate with information, that sort of thing. Thinking style. And personality traits. We look at 9 behaviors that make up your personality. And then that's combined with identification of your top 3 interests in order of priority out of 6 interest categories. So those things come together to create your profile. And where this is bullseye, they intersect, that's the profile. And the idea is that the assessment will deliver a list of jobs that are appropriate for that profile based upon what people with a similar profile are actually doing out there. So a very practical approach. So I'm not going to go into some of the statistical explanations of the results, but again, we're dealing with statistical data. So, the old bell curve comes into play. The thing to remember is that we're looking at the results being placed on a scale of 1 to 10. 1, 2, 9, 10. The more unique you are, the more restrictive the jobs are going to be that are delivered. I think that makes sense. The more unique a person you are, the less jobs are going to be appropriate. So that's just, I think a basic concept, I think makes pretty good sense. All right, so let's go back to the individual report and continue on. I'm hoping that this is that the technology is keeping up with my with my pace here. So let's go. Okay, so you'll get a summary graph which has the actual numbers, but we'll also get a narrative. So here's the narrative that talks about the thinking style, verbal and mathematical information, both. So this is specific to the student when they receive it. These describe their ability mathematically and verbally to their skill and their reasoning power when it comes to these areas. And so let me maybe I can jump over here and share, just give you an idea of what the graph looks like. So here's Sally Sample, learning index or thinking style, overall 6. Here's how she scored in those other areas. Okay. But the numbers don't mean as much as the narrative. So I really, we focus on the narrative to start with. We don't share the numbers until after we go through the report. Excuse me very much. All right, so thinking style, mathematical and verbal. And so that's then married up with, and here are the 9 behavioral traits that you're going to be looking at. Tendency to work at a fast pace, energy level. So, does the student, thrive on chaos and when things going on around 100 miles an hour? Or are they more methodical, thoughtful, want a more laid back work environment? So again, bullets to describe the results. Here, energy level, assertiveness. This is a measure of leadership, but this is more of a measure of whether you have to lead rather than whether you can lead. So, that's wherever they fall on that spectrum. And again, you can see the bullets are very descriptive in terms of the person's personality. Sociability. Now, this is the people piece. Do you need to have people around all the time in order to be happy? You can't work alone, or is it just the opposite? You could be somewhere, anywhere on that, fall on the scale of 1 to 10. All right, manageability. This is, how are you manageable, basically, except external control supervision. So again, this is very descriptive in terms of the narrative, but again, you have the numerical results as well to marry that up with. Attitude. This is the glass half empty, half full, or half full, half empty, however you want to say it, situation, but it's not just about, situations and outcomes, but it's about people, authority, change, that sort of thing. So again, it really tells you a lot about how you react to things and to people. Decisiveness is how quickly you can make a decision based upon the information that's in front of you. So are you very decisive, quick to make a decision, or do you have to take a lot of time and do a lot of consideration and look for more information before you make a decision? It's kind of what they're measuring there. Accommodating. This is how far how willing you are to go out of your way to make other people happy. So high end, you put yourself in detriment even to the meant making someone happy. On the other end, it's your way or the highway kind of thing. Independence. This is how you work. So if you're an independent worker, you want to be given a job, a project, left alone to do it. You don't need a lot of supervision, a lot of instruction. Let me do it, and I'll show you what it looks like after I'm done. On the high end, on the low end, just the opposite. You want step-by-step instructions, constant supervisory assurance that things are going according to plan. Everybody should know what they're doing, etc. So again, narrative, but there's numbers as well, obviously. Objective judgment. This is how you make a decision. We saw how quickly you make a decision. This is how you make a decision. So are you very logical or are you intuitive? So that's the scale, right? So, emotion, feelings, or, logic, data, information. Where are you on that scale? So again, looking at the summary graph here, you can see the visual of how that lays out. And again, as we spoke about before, the more you're toward the outliers, the more unique a person you are, and it's going to start restricting the jobs. Okay. All right. So then, let's look at those are the first two, right? Thinking style and behavioral traits. Okay. The third circle that we looked at on that initial graph were interests. So there's 6 interest areas. Enterprising, which is, presenting ideas, persuading others, kind of the business piece. Then we got financial administrative, which is about organizing procedures, information, that sort of thing. We've got technical or people service. People service, which is, again, sounds like just what it is. If whatever you're doing, you want it to have a positive impact on folks. Technical, That's your scientific, your research, that sort of thing. Mechanical, hands-on. You want to work with tools, equipment. Engineers are often mechanical. You're a builder. And then creative doesn't mean you're an artist, but artists are obviously creative, but this is about how you think in terms of problems, situations. You're very innovative and use imagination to when you're approached with situations and projects and things. So, we identify the top 3 interests. So here in Sally's case, again, the narrative, she was enterprising, then she was people service, and then she was creative, okay? And so you can see that's also, outlined on the summary graph, but you have that narrative explanation. All right. So those are the 3 things that come together to make the profile. And then, as I indicated, we're going to have jobs that are delivered based upon that profile. We jump down to the jobs. There are two different areas in the report that you're provided, but these are all jobs that you could do, and it is based on how close a match you are for that job. So let me show you this real quick. This is kind of hypothetical. Again, we're talking with Sally, about Sally, and here's a hypothetical job, widget vendor. So what they do for each job is they code each line item. So for example, in this case, they say if learning index needs to be a 5, 6, or 7 to be a widget vendor. So Sally was right there at a 6 combined score. Had a couple of outliers here, 3, 7. Behaviorally, she was 82% match, okay? For thinking style here, not so great. 54% match. You can see all the yellow outliers that she had. And they do the same thing for interests. And so 71% match for interest. So those 3 are combined to tell us that it's a 69% match being a widget vendor. Sally's a 69% match for that job, or that job is a 69% match for Sally, however you want to look at it. Point is, they draw the line at 75%. So this job would not show up in an array. Okay, 75% is where they draw the line. So any jobs that show up are going to be a 75% or better match for the student or the individual taking the assessment. That still gives us a 25% spread, right? So so there's going to be some that are, 76% match. There's going to be some that are 99% match. That's how it works. I wanted just to share that with you. So let's go back here to the jobs. Okay, so you can see you get a list of jobs, right, that are appropriate. So you can look at those and see what really resonates with you. Okay, but now what? Okay, so what do they do? Is it something that I really want to get involved in? I don't really understand what this job is. Well, that's where we then take you. If you click on this blue code here, it will take you out to the ONet. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing for a minute here and rearrange things so that I can get out to the ONet and show you that. Okay, so when you click on it, you're going to go out here to the ONet. You should be seeing the ONet on your screen. This is a website that has a vast amount of information about all kinds of jobs, careers. Is updated each year. Here's logistics managers, okay, for example. So if that was on your list of jobs and career, in your report, you could click on that. It would bring you here, and you could see, if that was the case. And here's all sorts of titles you could have. Here's what logistics managers do. It even tells you, on a daily basis, what are the tasks that you have to perform, and it'll even tell you, in detail, whether it's a core or supplemental and how important it is to the job, right? And then, software programs that you have to be familiar with, be able to use, knowledge, skills, abilities, work activities, detailed work activities. the work context. You know, how much preparation is needed to do this work. So there's 5 job zones. This is job zones 4, so considerable preparation. And it tells you that 60% of the people that do this work have a bachelor's degree, 17% have a master's degree. So, you know, to be competitive, you have at least have to have a bachelor's degree. You might even consider, you know, an advanced degree if you want to move up where you are. So that's good to know. And what's really nice is it gives you associated jobs that are similar that you can look at as well. But here's really where the rubber meets the road. Down here, you can put any state in you want. Since we're here in Virginia, I put Virginia in. Local zip code. So we can go here and take a look, and it will tell you salary ranges for this type of work. Here in Richmond, man, we're knocking it out of the ballpark, aren't we? As compared to Virginia as a whole and the United States. Don't know what's going on here in Richmond with logistics, but we must have some big companies here that are employing high-powered logistics managers. So anyway, it gives you an idea of where you might see yourself starting in terms of salary and where you might top out, you know, if you make it to the top of your profession. So that's, I think, good information when you're considering how much education, how much you're willing to spend on that education, sort of frames that for you. Hope you're seeing that. And then from a growth standpoint, which is also even maybe more important, is it growing? So here in Virginia, it's growing 10% over that period of time, 6% nationally. Here are the number of job openings each year in Virginia based upon you know, attrition and new job creation nationally. So you can see, you know, how competitive you have to be to compete for jobs. You know, when you get on the other side of education. And is it growing or declining? So, you know, if this was a single digit or a negative number, you might want to take your passion in a different direction, right? And again, you know, armed with this information, you can really make better decisions about direction. So it's not, you know, it's about finding something that you're, you know, really that really resonates with you, that you can get passionate about, that you feel really good about pursuing. But it also needs to be viable. It needs to be able to pay the bills when we secure that education and start looking for work. So there's 2 pieces to that. And this process then allows us to look at both sides. You know, we can get excited about the job, and then we can make sure that it's going to put us in a position to be able to pay the bills, have an apartment, have a car, et cetera, and not have to come home after college. So that's the whole idea to the process. So that's what I, you know, wanted to share with you. And if you have, you know, any other questions, if you would, you know, want to email us at ask@OptimumEdCenter.com. Or you can text me at 804-937-2288. If you have any other questions about the assessment, we can give it on an individual basis for the individual student, or we can do it on a group basis for a school. At a lot, you know, and so we have a program for that as well. Very cost effective for small schools to bring us in. Anyway, I appreciate your time. I hope that was informative. I hope it gave you an idea of how powerful it is, this assessment process that we take our students through. And it's really, you know, sets them up for making decisions that will greatly increase the chances that the time and energy they expend and invest in college and the money that mom and dad spend on that education is going to have a return. And for us, that return on investment is not the degree, it's the job and career that degree, that major that we're pursuing delivers. Thank you. Y'all have a great weekend. Take care.